My name is Nicholas Paul, and I work for the Aroostook Band of Micmacs as the tram coordinator. The group that I make music with right now is called Wabanaki Confederacy, which we call it that because we have each one of our drum group members is part of one of the 4 tribes right now in the Wabanaki Confederacy. I started off with just me and all the guys on the drum group. I call my brothers, all their wives are my sisters, all their kids are my nieces and nephews, as well as same with me and them. So I'll say all my brothers or all my sisters when I'm talking about them, but all my brothers on the group, me and my brother Cy, he was on one drum group, decided he didn't want to do it no more. I was on a drum group and it just wasn't working out. So we started talking with a few other guys, started a drum group, called ourselves Wrecking Crew, and we traveled to a few different places and just kind of thought the name Wrecking Crew wasn't really good for us. So then, we were sitting there, we looked around, we had somebody from each one of the 4 tribes there, so we were like, well, why not just call ourselves Wabanaki Confederacy or Wab Confeds or, something like that. And I'd say there's anywhere from 15 to 20 drum groups from like Maine, New Brunswick, Quebec, Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, all of them together. So when it comes to drumming and singing and learning new songs, it depends too on that. When I was younger, it took me a little while to get to the new songs. Now that I'm older and I've been doing it for a while, I can pick up on a song after the second verse. So if it's a straight song like a chant, if you got like Yah Yahweh, Ha Yahweh, yay, stuff like that. If it's a chant, that's I can pick up on it. If it's words, so like if Im Sid Quaid Ama, stuff like that, it makes it a little harder to do. So I remember me and my brother Cy were traveling to a competition powwow, and he's like, hey, we got new songs. I was like, all right, yeah, I can get them. He's like, yeah. We got 4 new chants and 4 new word songs. I was like, let's go over the word songs right now. And we had a 3-hour drive, and that's all we did for them 3 hours was just sing them songs over and over and over again till he felt I was getting it. And then too with other people, it's the same and it's different. It depends on the person and it depends on the song. Like it takes me a little longer to learn Cree than it would for me to learn Micmac songs. And Cree people, it might take them a little longer to learn Micmac than Cree songs but essentially the chants, they're all pretty much have the same basics, I guess you would say. And word songs, they all have the same meanings, just different ways of saying it. New songs just kind of pop into the head. That's pretty much how they're made. Traditional songs, they were made years ago the same way. Somebody was like, hey, well, there is a story for one traditional song like the Rabbit Dance. The Rabbit Dance, the story goes is that these hunters went out and they came to a big field and they seen this big rabbit jump in the middle of the field. And then all of a sudden a bunch of normal rabbits came out and was around him, and the rabbit started hitting his big foot on the ground, making this drum beat, and all the rabbits started dancing. And then when they were done, they all took off, and the hunters didn't know what was going on, so they went back to their village, told the clan mother of the village what was going on, and she said, well, here, take this drum and drum the beat that they were drumming. And so she did, and she said, you other hunters, you do the dance that they were doing. So they held their hands, started doing the dance that the rabbits were doing. So that's the story of how the rabbit dance came to be, stuff like that. New songs, driving down the road, and I was plowing one time and I got bored, so I just started singing, and it was something I never sung before, something nobody ever heard before, so I grabbed my cell phone, which makes it easier now, and just recorded it, and then sent it to my brothers, and they loved it. We made some tweaks to it, and now the song's called Plowing Away. The creative process, like you get the idea, you start singing it, and then we have a group chat on Facebook just for songs. So it'll be like, hey, check out this new song, what do you guys think? And then like somebody else will be like, oh, that's cool. How about if we tweak it this way? And then another person will be like, oh, I like that, but let's try this. Put this in there. And that, you know, it's a group effort that comes behind. We don't just like, we're not like, no, this is how it is. This is how it's going to be. I don't care what you guys think. It's a group effort. Everybody, you know, it's the person's decision to take our advice or our opinion. They don't have to. It's not mandatory, you know. They can be like, well, no, I really don't like that. I kind of wanted it this way, but I do like how you did that, so I'm thinking about adding that in here, you know. So it's with us, it's one person gets the muse, I guess you could say, does the song, says, hey, what do you guys think in the group chat, and then we all come through like, yeah, I like that, or hey, how about we do this? And it's a group effort at the end of it, but that one person in the drum group gets the credit for it because they're the ones who first came up with it. I would actually love to see it more mainstream, like to be able to sit down and driving down the road and hear a song that I'm singing on the radio being played by it is like out west, and when I say out west, like Colorado and stuff like that, like even out west like Saskatchewan and stuff like that in Canada, reservations are so big they have their own radio stations, so they do play that. But like up here, it's not really, you know, we don't have our own radio station. I mean, we got radios, but that's just for emergency purposes in the vehicles. But I would love to see it more mainstream and get it out there for more people to see. I mean, a lot of people are coming to the culture that aren't even indigenous. So I would love to see it mainstream myself. So there are competition powwows, they're called. They're not only for the drums, but also for the different categories and dances. So for the drums, there's actually 4 categories. So you have northern, contemporary, southern, and also the hand drum competition. How the judges specifically judge the competitions is like when you're drumming, everybody's sticks coming up and down at the same time. Everybody's sticks going to the same height. Nobody's messing up, nobody's too fast, you're not getting this stuff going on, you know. Everybody's got to be right on point, right at the same motion, and you can hear everybody in the drum group singing. Like my brother DJ is not overpowering my brother Glenn. Like you can hear DJ and you can hear Glenn and you can hear them blend. So not only can you all hear everybody, but you can hear them harmonize with each other. And another thing is not messing up. And then they also look at the crowd, like the dancers. How many dancers are out there like really dancing to your song? Because competitions, dancers get points for being out there during intertribals, and you'll see them just walking, you know, just to get the points. But if they're really feeling the music, they're out there dancing, and the judges will look at that and see that. So it and like I said, it's in them different categories. So we do more of a contemporary style. So sometimes all the categories are lumped into one, and it makes it harder to judge those because they have their own different styles. Southern is a very deep sound. Contemporary is in between Southern and Northern is like, it's like really high pitch sound to it. So when they're clumped together, it makes it hard to judge them because, you know, you're listening for the different pitches and everything like that in the singing as well. The Southern style, it originated in the Southern United States, but there's also some Northern groups up here that do Southern style, like in Cape Breton or Escazone, there is East Boys. They're named East Boys, but they do Southern style. And that's what they sound awesome doing Southern style. Like when they do it, they sound awesome, and I'll run over and jump in with them and everything and sing with them. And but they're an East Coast group. They're more contemporary style, but they do awesome as Southern. So and like there's some groups in the South that do the Northern style, and there's some groups here that do Southern, Northern, And there's some groups, it doesn't, it originates in one area, but it's not just for that one area. It gets dispersed between, the other areas, and they love doing it. Yeah, it's not really different as comparing to country music to rock music. It would probably be like comparing like classic rock, alternative rock, new age rock, death metal rock. It's still in that same genre, but it's like its own separate entity in the genre. So when there is a mistake and it's in the heat of a moment, you have to think quick. You can't make it look obvious. You gotta make it look like you meant to do that. One time when I made the mistake one time, my brother saw, I was like, hey, let's do this song. So he was like, all right, yeah. Well, since you picked it, you started off. I was like, all right. So I started singing the lead, and I sang a whole different lead to a whole different song. And he looked up at me with wide eyes, and I knew right off. I was like, oh no, I'm on a whole different song. So I just kind of like blended it into the lead I was supposed to be singing, and he's got a big smile, started chuckling to himself a little bit, and then he came in with the pickup that went with that lead. So he was in after the song. He was like, oh man, you started. I was like, oh no. And then you just blended it in, and he was like, oh, it worked out perfect. So you can't, if you're at a competition powwow, even when you're not at a competition powwow, you can't make it look obvious. Make it look like you meant to do that. But sometimes even at regular powwows, we'll just stop and start laughing about it. And the master of ceremonies, who's narrating everything that's going on, will be like, oh, never mind the CD skip, boys, hold on. And, we'll all start joking around and laughing. But it happens. There's no reason to get mad over it. I mean, at the competition, sometimes, it's like you got to get up and walk off because you don't want to have that negative energy around the drums. So you got to walk off and calm yourself and everything like that, because with the competition powwows, you're out there for money. You get paid big bucks for that. There's some competitions where it's like $30,000 to $50,000. So, and this is how some drum groups make their livelihoods. So it's not just a hobby to them, it's a lifestyle. And that's how they feed their family and go to the next powwow and stuff like that. So a lot of drum groups do actually train like most athletes. Like they sing every day, the group gets together on a weekly basis, everything like that. So it does happen. There's nothing you can do about it, and just try not to be negative about it. But that's what we do on our drum. I don't know about others.